Welcome to another edition of the SafeRack Podcast. I'm Kenny Rogers, Vertical Market Specialist.
And I'm Ray Evans, Bulk Chemical Vertical Market Specialist.
We're going to talk a little bit today about DesignBuild Services for plant expansions.
So we're going to be talking about possibly loading spot upgrades, maybe some retrofits, or maybe even some complete loading or unloading up to a turnkey.
Yeah, so we've done small projects, for one or two loading spots or retrofits, up to very complex applications where you'll have unit trains with 100 rail cars that are unloading product. And a lot of times customers are calling us and they have a lot of questions on, okay, what is required for these particular applications? Over the years, we've helped with many solutions in petroleum, chemical, food, and warehousing.
Yeah, pretty much just about all different verticals that are out there that we pretty much had our hands in helping out.
In retrofit applications, which is a lot of times a little bit easier in terms of the overall scope, but you still have a lot of things to look out for. We can save companies money by actually doing installations during off hours, repurposing existing structures so that we can minimize costs and also eliminate or even reduce the downtime of throughput, which is going to cost the company money as well.
Exactly. However, there are a few bolos that we need to be aware of, because when you go out to visit a client, we need to assess their existing platform. Is it beefy enough to actually support our equipment?
Yeah, that along with foundations, if we can get away with it, a lot of times you want to be able to repurpose what's out there because, foundations are expensive. You obviously want to put in foundations that will hold up to the loads and reactions of our equipment. And a lot of times soil bearing reports, obviously soil remediation needs to be looked at if it's a nasty area that's over time had some spills. And we try to look at all of these different, scope issues and come up with a holistic approach that saves the customer money, both not only in the equipment, but also in the installation and downtime with increased throughput.
So talking about downtime, we try to coordinate with the customer and work within their schedule. Maybe we can do it on the weekend, or maybe if they've got a scheduled plant turnaround or after hours. We want to try to work with the customer to reduce their downtime, because when they're not loading or unloading, they're not making money, correct?
Absolutely. There's some standard packages out there as well that you can put in for greenfield applications or new spots. And these packages are pre-engineered. They have a lot of pre-engineered aspects to them, and the foundations is one of them.
Exactly. Yeah. With our standard racks, we've got a standard foundation design, based on a certain soil bearing.
So customers don't have to worry about going out, getting third-party designs and then coming back in with the packages.
Exactly.
It's kind of it really is a turnkey solution.
However, and also on our drawings, if a customer wants to do their own foundations, we will give loads and reactions on our equipment so they can give it to an engineer, and it gives them all the information they need for them to lay out a foundation.
There's some more complex applications out there as well that involve power, tight spaces, support columns that have to be integrated into a quite congested location, such as this one that we're looking at now, which is an elevating cage in an existing area where trucks are going in. There's a scale involved. Mm-hmm. Pretty intensive solution.
Yeah, you've got to take detailed measurements on something like that. The old adage, measure twice, saw once, right? Yeah. But actually, these retrofit projects, they're actually the fun ones to do. Because you got to get out there, you're kind of scratching your head, how am I going to do this? But if you take your time, take measurements, and get the customer to agree he might have to move some process pipe to get it to work, those are fun.
Yeah, back in the good old days, whenever you just pulled everything with tape, it took a long time. Obviously, you had to be very meticulous with your measurements. Nowadays, you can even there are services out there available with 3D scanning.
Makes it a lot easier, correct?
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different disciplines that are involved with these solutions: mechanical, structural, civil, as well as the installation services. And if you have a company out there that has the wealth of experience that SafeRack has, they can certainly help you with a smoothly run project. Speaking of installation services, tell me a little bit about what we have to offer.
Well, installation is a big part of the success of the project, right? So you want to make sure you get it done on time, get it done correctly. Knowing the equipment, knowing how it's supposed to operate, are typical points that we need to make sure that we have an on time and we get the completion date done correctly.
Components of an engineering system like the safe access gangways, piping, lighting, spill containment, eye wash stations, skid integration, they're all incorporated into some of these more complex solutions. Railroads have their varying standards. We talked about this in earlier episodes, and those varying standards have to be integrated into the solutions.
Right. You don't want to spend all this money on a platform and, oh my goodness, I forgot to put it in a safety shower, right? So we'll make sure you're going to have to buy these components anyhow, so why not work with us and we'll integrate it so it all works seamlessly on the platform, whether or not be it lighting, grounding, or eye wash stations.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's episode. Thanks for listening. Join us next time when we discuss soft tissue injuries.